I just shot a video for my students about the Day of Remembrance and Action on Violence Against Women. And in the video, I talked about how angry I was because of the facts we all know, data on gender-based violence, the fact that women earn less than men in the workforce, the fact that menstrual equity is even a thing, and how influences are poisoning women, especially young girls. However, I didn't talk about my community, cycling, in particular, mountain biking. I didn't want my students to know that I'm part of a community that still has some members clutching to outdated and sexist values. I didn't tell my students that recently on a Facebook page, adults, many of whom are fathers, attacked a friend of mine because she asked them to stop making dick jokes. And their comments were crude and menacing. But even worse than that, in a sport dominated by men, the comments echoed of an old boys club, a cliched locker room, and not only created division in the community, but reinforced exclusion and made it clear, if you don't like our boys' rules, you aren't fun, you're a Karen, a snowflake. Oh, you must be sour. Come on, it's just a joke. I'm not sure when it became fun to suggest to a woman, a complete stranger, that she helped you get it up after she asked you to stop making jokes about your penis on a public Facebook page. I didn't tell my students about some of the trail names I ride. There's a trail just north of my city called Gomeshi's Gauntlet, presumably because it punches you in the throat, much the same way as a disgraced newscaster by the same name was charged with violently punching women in the face while having sex with them. I didn't tell my students that it's bad enough that some in my community are still scratching at a perverse need to be adolescent boys, but that it's also systematic to a degree, that pay-for-use apps like Strava and Trailforks lack filters to at least begin to weed out sexist and misogynistic trail names. Sure, you can complain to regional people, but why? And to be clear, Strava released updated community standards this morning aimed at trail names and racist behavior, and even mentioned the need to be inclusive and kind, and that's a great start. And yes, for my cyclist friends who see this, I get it. Trail names are assigned by trail builders. They put in the work. And often old trails carry legacy names and homage. But really? First, do we need to honor the folks who named a trail Rim Job, a local trail? Yes, it's a tongue-in-cheek reference to the fact the trail is along the rim of a valley. Yay, a geography joke. And second, do they even care if the trail name stays? What was probably an outrageous and informal trail name for the counterculture hardcore MTB crowd years ago belongs there years ago. Not on Strava as a segment or as an official name on Trailforks, because it becomes sanctioned just by being there. By the way, these aren't my words. They are the words of women who I ride with and who ride, who at any moment can be in a forest and be met face to face with a group of cyclists. And those cyclists may not even know the name of the trail, or they may know and not even care, or they may be infantile and impotent, but maybe not. I've been on many rides where I feel alone and vulnerable in a forest on a trail, and I know exactly how that feels. What I don't know is how a woman riding an expensive bike wearing a cycling kit feels. I know what my friends say. They say it denigrates them, makes them feel aware of their status as women in the community. And besides, why are we so attached to maintaining history and legacy and honoring childish morons at the expense of a greater community, when at the end of the day, it's still a stretch of sweet single track? The cost of being a woke society isn't a cost at all. It's free to listen and make changes really that are meaningless in the big picture. While the world continues to fight the wage gap and gender-based violence, the least we could do in our community is ensure those who ride with us are included and protected by all of us through our actions, the way we name our trails, and the words we use with people.